everyone, for math, today we're going to take a look at something called pictographs. So we are on lesson 10.3 and it will be on pages 289 and 290 in your textbooks. What I would like to do first is talk about some pictographs and all the different types of a pictograph, and then we will make one, okay? So a pictograph is a graph that uses pictures to help us organize our information. So pictograph, it's a picture graph, okay? What I have here is the start of a pictograph. Now, a pictograph uses pictures or symbols to help us show information. Now, the pictures on a graph can stand for different amounts sometimes. So the key is the next important part of our pictograph. You need to make sure that you look at the key to be able to understand how many each picture or symbol represents. So I have my key down here at the bottom, and it says that each square is worth 2 pieces, which means that every single time you see one square on the graph, it actually means 2 pieces. So we could count them by twos. Sometimes one square could mean 1, just we would count them by ones. Sometimes one square could mean 5, so we would count them by 5s. And sometimes one square might be 10 even, and we would count them by 10s. But for our graph right here, it is 2. So each square is 2 pieces. Now, again, the key is very important because if we don't take a look at the key and the value of each picture, then we're going to be reading our graph kind of all wrong, right? The next important part of our graph is the title and labeling things. So our title here is amount of cereal, which means that we're going to be looking at the amount of cereal, right? The next part is labeling the other part. So bowl number 1 and bowl number 2. Now, I have my first bowl here and I have my second bowl here. What I need to do is count out how many pieces of cereal are in each bowl. So I'm going to do that really quickly, and then I'm going to draw a picture for every 2 pieces, okay? So let's take bowl number 1. I'm going to count out how many there are. Maybe you can help me. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pieces. So I need to make sure that I am writing out enough for 11 pieces. Help me this time. Every single time I draw a square, count by twos. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and I don't have a whole other 2, which means I need to draw half a square. Now let's take a look at bowl number 2. It looks a little fuller to me, which means there must be more in it, okay? Count them with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16 pieces in there. 16 pieces. That's a lot of cereal in comparison. Help me by counting out by 2 each time. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16. So we know, grade 1, that bowl number 2 had more cereal in it than bowl number 1. We can tell just by looking at it, but this helps us organize exactly how many more are in bowl 2 compared to bowl 1. Okay, I hope that makes sense, and if you're not quite sure about pictographs yet, feel free to just shoot me a message or ask Mom and Dad a little bit about them. What I would like you to do now is open up to page 289 in your textbook. It looks like this. It has some nice, beautiful clocks, and I'm going to explain the work that you need to do, and then you're going to do it, right? So on the very top here, you have a pictograph. The title is Student Clocks. It's labeled by each teacher. Now, each of the little clocks is worth an amount. We need to make sure we look at the key to figure out how much each clock is worth. What's the value of each clock? So, since we have our pictograph here, we're going to answer some of the questions that are on the bottom. Now, number 1 says, Miss Marino has 20 students in her class. She wants them all to have clocks. How many clocks does she have? So we're going to take a look at Miss Marino's class, count by 5, since each one is worth 5, and write the amount there. Next question says, does Miss Marino have enough clocks? You decide, yes or no. Does she have any left over? You decide, yes or no. How many clocks does Mr. Connor have? So look up to Mr. Connor's class. Count how many clocks he has by counting by 5, since each one is worth 5. Write it on the line. Who has more clocks than Miss Marino? So again, take a look. Decide which teacher has more clocks and write their name on the line. Last question says, Mrs. Patel wants 20 more clocks. Can she borrow enough from Mr. Connor? Take a look at the graph to help you find out that information and circle yes or no. Then I want you to turn the page, grade 1, and we're going to take a look again at some boats at a lighthouse. So here we have different lighthouses, and this time each boat or each picture of a ship is worth 2 ships, which means we count by 2 every single time we see a ship. Then you're going to go ahead and answer the questions again on the bottom. I will read them for you quick. It says, which lighthouse served 8 ships? Write the name of the lighthouse on the line. How many ships sailed by the Portland Head Lighthouse? Find Portland Head up here. Count how many have gone through, and then write that number on the line. Then number 9 says, how many more ships sailed by the West Quoddy Head Lighthouse than the Tybee Island Lighthouse? So you are going to first do that little subtraction question and then write the answer on the line. The next one says, how many ships were served by the West Quoddy Head Lighthouse and the Peggy's Cove Lighthouse all together? All together is a key question telling us to add. So you're going to do that adding question and write how many ships there were all together. Then at the very, very bottom, it says, how many ships were served all together? So you need to take a look at the graph and count how many ships were served. All of the ships, count all of them, and write that number on the bottom. And that is your work for today.